As you're caregiving for your aging parent with dementia, you might notice this strange but actually pretty common thing that happens where your parent can, in one moment or in one day, can stand up and they can walk, and then the next moment they can't. It's almost like their body forgot how to do it. This roller coaster of being able to do something one moment and not being able to do it the next moment is often associated to something called procedural memory. That's the type of memory that helps us remember how to do things like brush our teeth, walk, ride a bike. It's where that saying comes from, like, once you learn how to ride a bike, you don't ever forget it. It's because it's in our procedural memory and we don't have to think about how to do it. So in today's video, we're going to talk about why your parents' ability to stand or walk might come and go. We're going to talk about how understanding this and relating it to procedural memory can help you. And stick around to the end of the video where there's some practical tips on how you can use this information to make your caregiving job easier. I'm Tammy Provencal. I'm a dementia-certified physical therapist, a life coach, and one of the caregivers to my 90-year-old mom. I'm on a mission to make caregiving resources more easily accessible to everyone. Procedural memory is a type of long-term memory that allows us to perform an action without having to consciously think about it. This is the type of memory that I often use as a physical therapist with people with dementia to get them to automatically do some of the things that I need them to do so that they stay as independent as possible. And when you notice in your parent that all of a sudden they can't stand up or they can't walk, it can be really distressing because you know as the caregiver that this is going to make your job harder. You've got to figure out now, how am I going to get mom or dad onto the toilet? How are we going to walk to the bed so they can lay down? It can be really distressing. There can be multiple reasons why this can happen, but we're going to mostly focus on this procedural memory because even if there is something else going on, we can always fall back on trying to use this, and it works a lot of the time. Let's talk about the other reasons that your parent may suddenly be unable to stand or walk. It could be that it's related to a medical issue that's going on, like a UTI. It could be that it's related to a medication side effect. It could be that there's too much going on in the environment and it's like an overload to their brain. It could be that we're asking them to do something that they can't process the information for. It might be that they're afraid of something and they might not be able to even express that, but you might notice it, like they might resist standing up because they're afraid of falling. It could also be that your parent has muscles that are weak or joints that are stiff or a sensation issue where they can't really feel the floor. So those are some of the other reasons that you might notice that your parent is having trouble moving. And you could ask your parent's primary care doctor for a physical therapy evaluation, and they might be able to help you to brainstorm some of these things. They might be able to connect with the doctor also if there's evidence of maybe a urinary tract infection. They could communicate with the doctor and maybe get the process of treating that to go a little bit faster. And they can also work on the strengthening and the range of motion and the balance things that might be impacting your parent's ability to stand or walk. So if we go back to talking about procedural memory and we're thinking about how we can use that memory to serve your parent and to serve us as caregivers, let's talk about 5 things you can think about in terms of procedural memory. So if we look at your parents' regular routine, the things they do every day, keeping that routine fairly stable, trying to do similar or the same things every day, that will allow them to keep using their procedural memory because they're doing it over and over again. The second thing to think about is continuing with as much physical activity as is safe and as your parent can do. Having an exercise routine is great. That way you can maintain strength and range of motion for as long as possible. If your parent was somebody who exercised regularly, keep exercising. You can also use specific tasks that your parent needs to do as an exercise. And one of my favorite ones is to actually just do sitting to standing. Have them do that as an exercise so you can have them do 5 reps at a time and then rest. The third thing to think about is to use automatic performance tests. So think about the things that your parents did as a career or as a hobby, the things they like to do, and see if you can connect those with something they need to do. So for example, if it's sitting to standing, maybe if you had a tray table up high, and on that tray table you had objects that connected with a hobby that your parents had, you could have them sit to stand, do some of that hobby, sit back down. Stand, do that hobby, sit back down. You can also use some of these things that your parent really liked to do or was connected to in their early life to get them to do things that they still need to do, like walking into the bathroom or walking into the kitchen. You could frame it like, we're going to walk into the kitchen and we're going to look at all your fishing lures that are up on the counter. The fourth thing to think about is to think about the environment and the routine that your parent is in, and see if there's anything in that environment that might be confusing or throwing them off or leading to fear. There might be something in the environment that's scaring them, and see if you can limit those things. And you can also use the idea of procedural memory to start a task or to help your parents start a task, and then see if they can complete the task once it's started. So for example, if your parent was gonna make the table, set the table, you might put all the plates on the table so that they see those and see if that's enough of a cue that they just automatically start placing them. And the fifth thing to think about is to use simple single-step instructions when you're asking your parent to do something. So think about words that they might relate to. So for example, one of the things that I often do with my patients in the later stages of dementia is, instead of when I want them to stand up from a chair, instead of saying things like put your hands here, bring your feet back, I'll try automatic cues like stand up, because they'll automatically bring their feet back under them. They'll put their hands where they need to stand. You can also try things like let's get going. And that might be something your parents heard in the past or relate to, and they kind of will go into an automatic motion to stand up. One of the coolest experiences I've had that kind of relates to this is with my 101-year-old uncle. It was about 4 months before he passed, and he was a fisherman his whole life. He loved fishing, and he hadn't gone in decades. So he was basically wheelchair dependent at this time. So we took him in a wheelchair to a pond to fish, and watching him as he's reeling the line out, as he's reeling it back in, as he's taking the fish off the hook and putting worms on the hook, was amazing to watch, because he was pretty deep into dementia, but he was able to use that procedural memory that he had done for years fishing, and it just automatically came back. It was very cool. So hopefully today's video was helpful. Being able to use some of these strategies we talked about today can help your parent to stay as independent and feel like they're continuing to do meaningful things longer, and it can make your job as a caregiver easier. Thanks for watching.